It is always so much fun to get to do these live chats. And I really feel like I kind of grabbed a plum here getting you, Miss Julia London,
Oh,
to talk with me. This is just going to be so much fun, and I know readers are going to enjoy it. And hey, everybody, we are now live on both Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. So wherever you're watching or going to be ringing in from, welcome. And those of you come regular, you know the drill. Tell me you're here, say hi, and let us know where you are coming from. And you should don't do you know that you should never end a sentence with a preposition, but that's the way it goes.
I've heard that.
Oh,
I've heard that.
where are you coming? Where is home for you as you are chatting with the amazing Julia London and myself?
Yeah.
And she is just, I'm so excited to get Julia because I am a big fan. Diane Clark has already made it from New Jersey. Hi, Diane. You're the first one at the party. Up here comes some more of the gang. Nancy's here from Wisconsin. Jennifer is coming in from Michigan and watching on YouTube. Oh, that's fun. Hi, Nicole. And Patty is here from Minnesota. I love saying that like that. Minnesota. It's such a cute state. I love Minnesota. And we have got Cindy here from Ohio. So very lovely to see so many of you already ringing in. I'm not seeing anybody yet coming in on Insta, but that's okay. I know they will be joining us soon too. So very, very excited to be having a chance to talk with Julia London. And guys, we are going to have, again, the must be present to win. Aren't you glad when you come? Because Julia is going to give away a copy of one of her books to some lucky partier here today. Phoenix is here. Hi, Marianne. And Washington, Susie representing Washington. So I'm so glad to see many of you ringing in. And I'll try and remember to say hi as we go along. But if I get busy chatting, please don't be offended because, of course, it's really all about Julia today and getting a chance to talk to her.
I love when that happens.
I really am excited because I'm such a big fan of your books. And Cindy's here from Oklahoma. Hi, hi, hi. We're going to be asking Julie. We did this last time with our last guest, and I thought it was fun. So we're going to have some of those would you rather's. You know, first thing, what would you prefer to do? And I'm looking at my notes going, where are my were you rathers? Where did those go? I'll have to wing it. But we're going to do some of those fun little things, find out a little bit about Julia, what she likes to do for fun and excitement, and a bit about her history. And speaking of, hi, Kathy's here from North Idaho. Glad you could be here. I'm trying to find a pen. You know, you guys know how organized I am. Just a minute.
She left me.
Well,
hello, everyone.
We're all friends here, right? No one's going to ever let me do this like professionally because I'm such a disaster. Oh my gosh. Anyway, but we're going to have some fun today. And of course, you can all ring in too with questions. And if you would like to share some of your preferences when we're asking Julia. But first, I want to give you a chance to get to know her a little bit. For those of you who maybe haven't met Julia, have been living on another planet and don't know who she is. But Julia, my biggest Julia addiction started with your last book, which was the Nora November one.
Nice work, Nora November.
Yes, I loved that book. It was so clever, and we are going to talk about that again in a little bit. She's got that, and she's got a new one out. So I'm a big fan. But you, like me, started out with Regency romances. So how did you? And yours were bigger books. They were like the big historical ones. What made you decide you wanted to start out writing historical novels?
Well, I was in a job that I despised. I guess that's how all big change comes along. But I've always been a big reader. I read everything under the sun, and I was much younger then, and I had gone to a garage sale and picked up an Iris Johansen book when she wrote historical romance. Now I don't know if Iris Johansen is she, I'm not even sure she's alive, but she started writing suspense and became really well known for that. But before that, she wrote historical romance, and I loved it. And I thought, I wonder if I could do that. And it was more for a diversion for me because I just couldn't stand my job. But I apparently had some talent for it. And I started thinking maybe I could do this. And I had two sisters and I would tell them about it. I'm the youngest. And it finally got to a point where my sisters told me, do whatever you do with books that you've written or stop talking about it because we can't listen to this anymore. which made me really mad.
Oh, that's
So I
fun.
went to a Barnes and Noble and got a book on, like, how to get published in 10
Oh my
days, something
God.
like that. And, how to get an agent. And I just followed the steps, and I'll be damned if I didn't get an agent and sell that first book that I wrote, that I tried. It's not the first book I wrote. I'm going to take that back. I tried to write a book, and I discovered, like, why it's hard, but I learned how to structure a book. And so I tried again with the Regency, and that's the first one I sold. It was The Devil's Love, and it's still in print today, if you can believe it.
That is
Can you
very
believe
cool.
it?
Well, yeah, if you go to Amazon, you'll see a lot of Julia's books, a lot of the historical ones that they're set
Yeah.
in that's a favorite time period for so many of us, partly because it's kind of glam. They had the
Oh, yeah.
gowns, had the fancy
Oh,
balls. It
that
was
was
just
my attraction to it. The castles, the men in suits, the horses, the money. Yeah, all of that. That was
yeah.
my big attraction to it. It was a great escape.
I always thought I'd love to have lived in Regency England, but only if I could have been part of the nobility. I don't think
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
want to live as as the tavern keeper's wife, or some
Right.
of
Yeah. No, no, no.
the serving wench or the servant who has to clean everything. I don't want to do that. I just think it would be such a fun time to live. Hi to all of you who have joined us. Zephyr Hills arrived, I saw, and Kathy, we have a couple of people who are saying, yeah, this lady is new to me. So I'm glad you guys are getting a chance to actually to meet Julia. So anyway, so started with Regencies. And then, it's interesting. We were talking about that before we went live. Things cycle, and for a while, everything was historical romance and Regency romance and Scottish guys in the hills with kilts. And all of a sudden, those don't seem to be a big thing, are they? It's like the dragons have come in and gobbled up the historical novels, pretty much, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, so my first book came out, The Devil's Love came out in 1998, and that was back when, the big historicals, the meaty ones with a lot of
Yes.
description and pageantry were still very popular. And that's I tell you, that's the only reason I sold the book, is because that's what was so hot at the time. It was the dragon of the time, and I just was very lucky.
Yeah, just
Um,
hit it just right.
yeah, but it's a different kind of world building, and the world building milieu that readers like has changed a lot, except for some of
Yeah.
us. I mean, there's still some historical people out there, they still want to read historical novels, but I think we're dying off.
Yeah,
Frankly.
or just moving to different time periods, because
Maybe,
World War
yeah.
II became so popular. I'm seeing some
Yeah.
things now with World War One creeping in, and I think that's a good thing, to be expanding our reading universe a little bit and reading about different times of history. And I've even seen a couple things in the 20s. I started a book years ago set in the 20s, and realized, well, this is not going to sell, so maybe someday I'll have to go back and finish that. So things do go in cycles, as far as reading tastes go. And the other thing we were talking about is that horror novels are all of a sudden on an
Oh,
upswing. Every editor on the planet is looking for a horror novel. So guys, any of you out there who are writing, if you like to write horror, this could be your time.
yeah. Yeah.
So hi to some of our Insta people. I see you there too. Thanks for joining us, you guys. We were enjoying talking with Julia London today, who has really been writing for quite a while. But again, if you don't happen to read that particular genre book, it can be like, oh gosh, who's that author? And now she is writing in a more contemporary setting, which I think is very exciting. And first of all, before we get to that, I wanted to ask, with the whole Regency thing, did you ever get to go to England to do research in person, or was it all on the internet or in books?
Oh, no, I went there quite a bit, actually. Excuse me. I also wrote, the Scottish Highland books. I wrote those too, but I've been all over the country.
Wow.
And,
That is very cool. What's your favorite place in England? Because I do love England. Where's your favorite place in England?
probably the Lake District. It's just so pretty up there. My favorite of all the UK is Scotland. I mean, I feel like,
Oh, wow.
I might
Interesting.
have lived there at some past life.
Wow.
But yeah. And of course I love London. I mean,
Oh,
London's
yeah.
just
London is
exciting.
fabulous. We were just there a few months back, and it was so sad. I wound up getting sick and didn't get a chance to go. Gerhardt went and took the picture of me. They now have a fabulous memorial to Agatha Christie right in the middle of London, which I love.
Oh,
It's a
how
big old
cool.
picture of her profile. And I thought, Yay! A
Oh, I
lady
love
author
that.
is getting memorialized right there in London. It's pretty cool. And favorite food? Do you have a favorite London food?
Um, Not really. I'm not much of a foodie, but I'm, none of the stuff that they eat is ever really set well with me. I mean, fish and chips is probably my favorite,
Well,
but like the
it's
what do they
interesting.
call?
Did you ever have syllabub? You know, because you always read Regency romances, and there's somebody who's always serving syllabub.
No, I never did.
I'm going to make that at some point. It's kind of a pudding-like, say gelatiny thing, but it's got sherry or something in it and whipped cream and all kinds of. I thought I've got to make syllabub at some point. But
Yeah,
my
I have tried haggis when I was in Scotland. I did
oh,
try haggis.
that's isn't that
Yeah,
like
it's not a
sauerkraut
do-over.
or something? Okay,
Yeah,
out there,
it's
guys. What's the weirdest thing you all have eaten? If you've traveled,
yeah. Let's hear
share
that.
whatever interesting and strange food you've eaten, because we'll compare strange food experiences. I had because of course I love reading and writing Regency romances. That's how I started. And every time they were always in the inn traveling, and they'd have a steak and kidney pie. I'm like, oh, I gotta
Yeah.
have. I went to a pub, steak and kidney pie. Oh my gosh, Teresia, hi! You need to send me your new mailing address, girl. Anyway, I'm sidetracking, but anyway, so we're traveling and we're in this pub, and I get a chance to get steak and kidney pie, just like in the books, and it was gorgeous. Oh, it was so pretty. I took a picture of it. Oh, this is so exciting! I made steak and kidney pie, and I took one bite. It went. Blah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was not good. It was like, and I'm not a fan of liver. If you're a fan of liver, you would love steak and kidney pie. But it
Yeah.
was just,
Not a
I'm
fan.
like, this is the grossest thing I've ever had in my life. I was like, oh, ick. And so, sometimes things in real life don't add up to what we thought they were going to
No, and their
taste
breakfast
like.
has the black pudding, and they often serve beans, and both of those things I've tried, but I just like for breakfast I can't get that heavy,
Well, yeah, the fish thing.
So,
Oh, Nicole says she's had fish embryo.
oof.
No, not caviar either. Oh, you had it or
Oh,
you don't like it? You had it? That's like, oh my gosh, you are brave. Oh my goodness. Let's see. I'm looking at what Heather says. Haven't had too many strange things, but someone had me try avocado in milk. Well, now that's
ew.
interesting.
I
What
mean, no
purpose does
judgment, but
that
ew.
avocado? Rocky Mountain oysters. Wait, isn't that like
That's calf
oh
fries.
wait, no,
I've
I
eaten
know.
a lot of
I
those.
probably can't say that on. I just figured out what that was. Okay, Rocky. Oh my, wow,
I mean,
you
I did
guys.
grow up on a ranch in Texas, so I have had my fair share of calf fries, which is the same.
Wow, you guys, you are all bold eaters. Oh my goodness. Well, and yeah, the fish thing. I'm like, wow. Well, that's interesting. Anyway, so you've done your share of traveling. Now you're kind of staying put book wise. So I want to talk about the book that I just fell in love with, The Nice Work Nora November. That book is so cute. Do you want to just give us a couple sentences so that they know what that book is about?
Yeah, it's a reverse bucket list book. So a woman has a near death experience, and when she comes out of it, she creates the bucket list of all the things that she wishes or she should have done before she almost died. Like she's not going to face death again without having done a few things. But it's not the standard bucket list. It's not like climb a mountain. It's things in her life that she should have addressed a long time ago. So she sort of goes back and starts looking at all the things that she wishes she'd done, and then starts wondering, why didn't I do them? She's in her 30s, and I think it was about that time when you start questioning, like, why was this my major? Why is this my career? A lot of people do that. And just like, how did I get to where I am? And is this where I want to stay for the rest of my life? So it's that kind of book.
Why was this my man?
Why
I mean,
exactly? Yeah. And why did I buy everything that my parents told me?
well, yeah,
That's
because and part of that is just growing and learning. But I love the concept of that, of even just getting a second chance. I'm going to rewind. I'm going to do things differently. And what inspired that idea? And is there anything that if you had a sudden death experience and survived it, is there something you would come back and do differently?
Well, first, let me answer your question about how I got the idea. That idea started off as a rom-com
Oh,
idea with a man that had a near-death experience, and when he came out of it, he was going to go get the one that got away. But the more I started thinking about it, I thought that's a much better idea for a woman and to examine her life. So it started off as a rom-com and completely changed. As for me, I don't have a lot of regrets, but there are definitely things I would have done differently. For
mm.
example, I may not have married when I married. I mean, I think about that. I mean, I am divorced now, so I guess I corrected that problem. But sometimes I wonder about my decision to get married and if I made that decision for the right reasons, that sort of thing.
Well,
And I'm
yeah,
not
I
sure I
mean,
did.
when Gerhard and I married, we were just young and in love, and
Exactly. So was
my
I.
requisites for a man were pretty limited. He exceeded them, obviously, but I look back and think I didn't think very carefully before jumping into love and jumping into marriage, and married young, as many of us did, and
Yeah.
look back
And
and
there
go,
was a lot of pressure from, not like overt pressure, but just in because of my age, I guess, but that whole thing about are you really a woman if you're not married yet, and I felt that kind of pressure, and I thought it was expected of me. And it's not that I didn't love him, I did, but there were a couple of red flags that I pretty much ignored. So that's the kind of thing I think now, looking back in hindsight, I can say, I might have done that a little differently.
although, boy, you never know, because again, the same with age comes wisdom. Um, some things you don't learn until you're older and you look back in retrospect, and then you move on from those lessons you learned. And sometimes we just have to learn the hard lessons, don't we? We just make the
Yeah,
mistake, go, oh, shouldn't have
yeah.
done that, but that's interesting. Hey, everybody out there who's just joined us, I see Becky's here and Lisa, and Deanne Kraft has joined us. Thank you. And I see some of our friends on Insta are here. So thanks for joining us. I hope you're enjoying this conversation. We had some interesting things that people have tried. I got to go back and see who posted that about having to do liver in home ec class. Having to, because you back those that you'd make it, then you had to eat it, right? Because you have to make what you eat. Nancy, that was Nancy. She said, high school foods class, and she doused it with tons of ketchup and only barely managed 2 bites. Blah. Yeah, oh
I
my God,
mean,
what an awful
so
thing to do. Make kids liver.
my mother is, she's 92, still with us. And she said one day, where can I get a, good plate of liver and onions? And we all just went, ugh, nobody knows, and we're not going to find out.
Yeah, we don't want to know, and you don't want to know either. Well, but that was a thing. Yeah, especially
Yeah.
I remember reading during the World War II. Of course, the meat was getting sent off to all the good stuff to the soldiers, and so they're like, it was kind of a sales job. Ladies, here's a great thing you can feed your family. It'll be so good for them, and liver and onions. And I remember my parents, that was a big thing too. Oh, we love liver and onions on liver
Yeah.
and onion night. Man, I would get myself invited over the neighbors for dinner. Ugh. But
Ugh.
interesting. So yeah, we had a couple responses with the whole thing about the getting married, and someone said, single still at 47. It is a blessing and a curse. And somebody else had said the thing about, yeah, her sister feels that I have to have a man,
Yeah.
and I think that often is a pressure in our society. You must get married. If you're not married, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you that you don't want to get
Oh,
married?
especially when I was in my 20s. I mean, we just coming out of the women's revolution, or liberation. And so there are a lot of people still thought that, I mean, so many people that I went to high school with, that was their path. They went to high school and they got married, started having kids, just that was the natural progression of things.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I went away to college. And so I just had a completely different mindset. I don't know
Which
why.
isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think sometimes it is a good idea to just wait and let your brain finish growing together before you make a big life decision like that. But
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
laugh. Teresia says, liver and onions are wonderful. We love you anyway, Teresia. And who was it that just posted? Oh, Diane Clark says, Julia, you can probably get liver and onions at a diner near you. I'm sure she'll run
No,
around.
thank you, Diane.
Oh, golly. Oh my God.
Ugh.
Becky said she had an aunt who made really good liver and onions. Maybe it has to do with
My
how
grandmother made it all the time, so I guess that's what my mother was hoping for. But yeah, they used to eat it. But ugh.
I love it. Lisa said, single at 63, never met the lid for the pot. The one that was close, who cheated and left. Oh, well, left a bad taste. I bet he did. Lucky escape girl. So some things are better if they don't work out. Sometimes you're
Yeah.
better off. Okay, that was good. That was good being gone. Oh, golly. So kind of the death thing. Let's take a quick diversion into some fun stuff, and you guys feel free to ring in too. So I'm going to ask Julia preferences. Okay, time for a little morning drink. Is it going to be coffee or tea? And it's going to be coffee straight, or is it going to be coffee doctored?
Coffee doctored with
Coffee
a little
doctored.
Stevia and cream.
Oh, stevia and cream. Okay, out to you guys. Who's out there doctoring their coffee like I am? I have my frother. I have the whole 9 yards. I have my coffee syrups and my frother, and I have to make my morning latte because by ourselves it's not so fun. But do we have tea drinkers out there? Coffee. I see we have a tea drinker. Coffee doctored. Yeah, coffee doctored. We're into coffee doctoring. You guys, yep. You okay? Yeah, coffee and cream. So it looks like we got a lot of coffee drinkers out here. Very fun. Okay, so that's what she's having for her drink. Do you have set hours for your writing? Do you say, okay, time to go to the office?
Yeah, every day. I usually, in the mornings, I have a dog that must be walked, and then I do some form of exercise, and then I go to work, usually around between 10 and 11, and mostly work all day. I may spend like a couple of hours on a first draft. Drafting the first version of a book is harder than the second or third. And so I can't do more than a couple hours. I get kind of brain fried, but then I will spend time doing whatever promotion I have to do, any editing I have to do on manuscripts. Editing I can do all day if I have to, but I go to work every day.
As do, most of my friends, because it is, it's the old thing. If you don't work, you don't end up with a book. If you don't have a book, you don't get paid. And money is rather a powerful motivator,
Well, what else it is if you lay off, it's kind of like exercise. It's hard to get back into it. So for me, it's better to stay consistent with the work itself, or you're going to spend a lot of time trying to get back to where you were. Nancy, I have a beagle.
Yeah, you kind of lose track of what's going on in the story and what's going on with your characters. I got to circle back to a couple of comments here. This is from Heather. Nobody knows. I like liverwurst on toast. Liverwurst is a different animal. I like liverwurst with pickle and mustard on a piece of bread. That's good. And she also says coffee with half and half. Yes. A touch of lavender from your yard. That makes a really fun drink with lavender. Anybody have? It's summertime. Is anybody doing lavender iced tea or lavender lemonade? Lavender lemonade is wonderful if you guys haven't had that. It's just, very easy to get. And you can buy lavender syrup, by the way. If you go to some of the outlet stores, you can get some lavender syrup. And, oh, man, you can probably make your own, too. Just make simple syrup and crush up your lavender in it. Oh, Teresa is going mushroom coffee with espresso and cream. I've heard about mushroom coffee. That's supposed to be good for you. Have you had mushroom coffee, Julia?
No, but my sisters had it, and it didn't look very appetizing. She was making it one day, but I've heard that too. I think, a lot of people are drinking that now.
One of those. Oh, Deanne says Target's got lavender lemonade. Right? Oh, yeah. Oh, and with ready whipped cream. Oh, well, yeah, whipped cream makes everything better. And so does butter. Everything's better with butter, right? That's my. Okay, so when you're reading for fun reading, are we doing cozy and fun, or are we doing creepy and scary? What are we doing?
I like a good thriller. I like women's fiction, commercial fiction. I've tried horror a couple of times, and I am too much of a chicken. One of them, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a story of a film crew that was going to film in a haunted house, and they went to the house. Nothing had happened by the time I put that book down. I said, I can't do it. But the anticipation of something happening, I couldn't do it. I was just too scared. So, and I did read, I read the Grady Hendrix book, Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, which I think is considered a horror. And that was really good, but it got a little gory. in there. And so I'm not, the gory gets me. So I prefer like a good murder instead of horror.
Or like a cozy mystery. I just want to know who done it, but don't give me all the gory details of how they
Yeah.
did it. Right? We're getting a lot of cozy and fun responses here. So you guys, I just think I think Julia is going to be right up your alley then, because her stuff is just interesting and fun and not gory, and no gory and horror. So you should you should be fine. Nancy loves suspense though, and Cindy, yeah, fun or thriller. So either way, so I don't even I mean, oh my gosh, I remember when we were younger, we went through a phase. We had another couple we would hang out with, and they would come over every Friday night, and we would watch horror movies. I don't even know why. I don't know how we got on that kick, but it was just, I'd spend the whole time like this in my sweater. And I just was such a sissy. I was really happy when we stopped doing that. But then we would get real funny, my husband and I, and the company leave, and then it is who's going to be the last one to turn out the lights, because the first one who scampers away will be hiding somewhere to scare the snot out of the other person. What can I say?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no.
And one of the things we had a double bed, and an old-fashioned brass bed, and beds, but then you could put a whole person under there. And I remember, and I'm going, where are you? I know you're here somewhere, and I can't find him anywhere. I finally get to bed, and I come up to the bed, and this hand reaches out from the bed and grabs my ankle. I almost came berserk. I'm just peeled me off the seat line, like, nah! So I got even with him another time though, because I was the first to scamper away when it was time to turn out the lights, and I can hear him looking everywhere trying to find me, and I had hid in the closet. And he goes to open the closet door. I'm like, so we were sick puppies. What can I say? But we're past that now. We have matured, and so we try not to skip aside. Now, at this point in life, if one of us scares the other, we could have an incident and be at the emergency room. So we are not doing that. Anyway, Deanne says I only watch scary movies at home, and then when I go to bed, that a night it's like I can't get in the bed fast enough. I know. I got to tell you guys this. I am still positive to this day this happened. I remember once I was a kid, grade school, and my mom had the prettiest bedroom, and I would like to sneak in there and kind of flop on the bed and just look at all the pretty stuff. And I remember I was laying in the bed. I had one foot dangling out, and to this day, I swear something reached out and grabbed my foot. Since then, I have never dangled a foot out of a bed in my whole adult life. This is like probably the active imagination of a child, but oh my gosh, I have like I said, have never dangled a foot out of the bed since then, because I am a sissy. I am scared of things that go bump in the night. But let's go back to the person we're supposed to be talking to here, Julia. And I want to find out a little bit more about. Let's go back to your new book, because I'm very excited. I've already got it on my Kindle app and getting ready to read that next. Is this pretty, you guys? How cute is this? And I just love the title. Everything is probably fine. Did you come up with that title, or did your editor?
I actually did. I mean, I don't usually get titles. I will send them like a list of titles, and they're like, no. But this one, I came up with.
So tell us a little bit about that book. I can hardly wait to read it. I love this title.
Yeah. So this is a woman in her 40s. And it starts off, I mean, she's at the top of her game in her job. She's in sales, and she leads a sales team, and they're like the top of the industry, but she's got some interpersonal problems with her staff, and she gets called on it right in the first chapter. She accidentally attaches an email or a letter that she was writing to her sister to a work email. And in it, she was making superlatives of people in her office, like most likely to microwave fish, most likely to get in the face. And so, so it's apparent from the first chapter that there's something going on with her, and they send her to an employee wellness program. And this is set in Austin. So it's really, any wellness program here is going to be pretty frou-frou. And I actually based it on one here. It's on the shores of Lake Austin. But, so she's up for sound baths and float therapy and meditation and yoga and that kind of thing. But the whole premise is that she is in her 40s, and she's just coming to terms with the way her sister's lifelong addiction has affected her. Now, the sister's not on the page much, but so it's really, this stuff is coming up, and she's taking a look back in her life about how this has affected her and how she's reacted to it. And she gets the help of a neighbor, an 8-year-old boy who befriends her dog that becomes her best friend and is kind of in this journey with her. But so I say that because it's not like a downer. It's really an uplifting book. And there's
It's
a lot
funny,
of
but it's got some serious heft to it.
Yes, it does. And, and I chose this subject because I think so many people are touched by alcoholism or addiction in their family. Maybe, not, they're not the one who has the problem, but when somebody in your family has that problem, it sucks all the wind out of the room, and the people that are like on the periphery are just lost in it a lot of times. So yeah, it was really interesting to kind of follow that along. And, you see her sister's progression, but really what you see is how it affected Lorna Lott is her name, all through her life, and what she's doing now to get out from under the cloud of that.
Wow, interesting. I just love the boo-boo with the texting. Has anybody else ever done, have you ever done that? Send a text that you accidentally send it to the wrong person or you didn't mean to, and I like, crud, now I got an issue here. Have you
Reply
ever
to
done that?
all. Yes, I did. Yes, I have.
Me too. I was like, scarred me for life.
Oh my God. I made a very snarky comment to a friend about another friend. I replied to all. So yeah, I had to own it.
Yeah. And that's so mortifying. If anybody else out there done that, where you just think or you accidentally hit reply all and you thought you were only replying to that one person, it's just so, I try to be really careful with that and reread. And even after I've sent something like, now I really did just send that one person, and not, I should say, you guys, I'm not mean, I'm not a big old gossip, but sometimes in writing, if you're complaining about something to your agent going, gosh, I really wish they would do blah, blah, blah. Well, you don't want the publisher to know that you're really wishing they would do blah, blah, blah. You want your publisher to think that you love everything they do.
Yeah.
And for the most part, we do. I got to say, I am very grateful. I love my publisher. I'm very grateful for everything they do to me. But there are some things, it's kind of like having a shrink, I think. I'm assuming it's like that. There are things you tell your agent that you're maybe not going to tell anybody else, type thing, right? Or your writing buddies. That's a whole nother level. Writers will talk among themselves and complain about things in the business, say, "Oh, I really don't like the book cover they gave me." But those are things you're going to tell your writing buddies, and you don't necessarily want that to get out there to everybody else. But sometimes things have a way of doing that. Marie says, "Oh yeah, I did it. It wasn't good. I was chatting with 2 different people. Oops. Oh dear."
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Brenda said she did that. I didn't know that. But that's interesting. Cindy said Brenda Novak said she did that. I think we've all done something like that at some point, and it is embarrassing because you don't mean to do it. You don't need to be mean, and you don't need to be snarky, but sometimes
no, but I was, and there was no excuse, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I said it." And in my head, I was like, "And we're all thinking it," but I didn't say that.
Then you're just like apologizing and tripping over your tongue to apologize. I'm so sorry. Oh, Jennifer says, "Oh yeah," and it was Family Feud for a few months. Oh my goodness! Wow. So, yeah, it can be dangerous, and the problem with email is it happens so fast, or text. It's just like boom, and it's gone, and you can't. By the time you realize what you've done, it's just gone. It's just bye.
Yeah.
I'm off to make mischief now. So I think that's really. So I have a feeling a lot of readers are going to identify with that boo-boo, because we've all at one point said something we thought later that was stupid, and then it's gone and it's too late to call it back, or you think you're misbehaving and thinking you're getting away with it, and all of a sudden the whole world sees. Oh, Deanne's leaving. Yeah, hubby wants to start a movie. Have fun with the movie. Say hi to your husband, Deanne. Oh my gosh. Oh dear. So yeah, that is definitely easy enough to do. So let's tell a little bit more about where can people find you if they're looking for you on the internet. Where all are you?
Well, so I do have a Facebook page.
Okay.
I have an assistant that helps me post book material, and that's mostly what goes up on Facebook. I'm not there a lot myself, like responding. I am on Instagram personally.
Is that your favorite place? Do you like, what's your favorite social?
Instagram. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I had to get out of that cesspool when things started changing. I'm
Yeah.
not on Threads because it started to turn into another kind of cesspool. I
Oh,
tried
really?
TikTok,
Oh.
and I'm just like, I can't. I don't have enough to talk about to feed the machine at TikTok. So I really am just on Instagram, but I'm pretty active on Instagram.
So just look for Julia London on
It's
Instagram.
Julia_F_London. But I think if you
Okay.
typed in Julia London, it would come up pretty quick. But it's
Okay.
Julia F. London. Yeah.
S is in snake or F is in food?
F is in
Frank.
fucking. Julia fucking
F
London.
is in
That's what.
F. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so if you guys are wanting to hang out with Julia on Instagram, then that's a good place probably to go looking for her. Excuse me, my throat. And I assume we can find your book just about anywhere where books are sold, correct?
Well, I certainly hope so. I'm not sure, but that's my hope. That's the plan. But
Here comes this. Here comes a sneeze. Oh, I'm allergic to myself. Anyway, so yeah, so and you guys, the drill too. If you're not seeing it at your local bookstore or your local Barnes and Noble, you can have them order it in. They will be happy to do that for you, and that's a big thing. And this book is fairly new out. When did this book hit the shelves?
It's been out for like 10 days.
Okay.
Well, maybe a little. Yeah, it just came out this month.
So this is still a good time to be ordering it because that's going to what they call give it legs. That will keep it going, and more people will get a chance to find it. So yeah, so feel free to check this book out. And like I said, I'm looking forward to this book because I loved the one before this. I just thought I loved Nora, and I loved the whole concept of oh my gosh, now I almost died. Now how am I gonna redo my life? In some ways I think it's not a bad thing for all of us to take a minute to consider and say, or what if I knew I was going to die tomorrow? What would I do today? What important things would I do? And I think about that every once in a while, especially because guys, look at the hair color. I'm the sand's running out of the sand dollar thingy dingy. So I really do think about that a lot. How do I want this last part of my life to matter? And the more you think about, we don't always think about that when we're younger, but the younger you can start thinking that way, I think the more effective life you're going to have, and the more things you're going to accomplish because you did do that earlier. And good for Nora because that happened to her early enough that she can sort out her life. And are we going to do you think we'll ever have a sequel to that book? Has anybody asked for a sequel? I would love a sequel.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, I left it where, she's in a really good place, and I don't know what the sequel would be, because I would like to think that she's just continuing along without any kind of conflict or drama to write about.
Like happening happily ever after from now on.
Yes.
Do you get readers asking you for sequels to books saying, would you do a sequel to this book or that book? Do you ever get that?
Yes, I get it a lot, especially for some of the rom-coms that I've written. They want to see side characters, and I did have a series that I did where there was supposed to be a fourth book. It's The Princes of Texas. It's a contemporary, like a cowboy, but COVID happened. Things with the publisher happened. We switched that book to a different kind. We moved it from mass market to trade, and so that book never happened. And I get emails about that all the time. About what happened.
Please finish that book. Yeah. So maybe I'll have a chance to. I've heard cowboys are really big right now too. We are all into our cowboys, and so hey, maybe it's time for the cowboy.
Yeah,
you never know.
Well, I do have the Princes of Texas series out there that are cowboys, that are out there now.
So if you're looking for cowboys, Julia's got what you need. Oh, great. All right. Well, listen, this has been so lovely to talk to you, and everyone who joined us today. And tell us, by the way, before we go, we're going to be drawing a name for a book. Someone's going to receive a book here in the U.S. from Julia. So what are you giving away today, Julia?
Nice Work, Nora November. We've talked about it tonight.
And I love that book, you guys. So I'll pick a winner and post a name. Actually, I'll make Gerhard go through. He always kind of goes eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and closes his eyes and points. And so somebody's going to win a book tonight. Thank you all for joining us. Brenda Moninger is just now posting about her favorite drink, tea. I'm with you, Brenda. I might have a cup of tea right now. And for those of you who are just now joining us, glad you were able to. You'll be able to.
Yes, thank you all for coming. Yeah.
So hop to YouTube or go to the Facebook page, watch it while you got a chance there. But again, all our interviews are always up on YouTube live. And now next weekend is Labor Day weekend, guys. So we will not be hanging out because I'll be doing Labor Day weekend things, and I'm sure so will you. We've got some more things scheduled, but I'm going to be doing some traveling to book events and writing conferences, and so we might not do our gatherings quite as often. We'll still be doing them when we can, and I'll still be checking in and sharing fun stuff with you. So be sure to be following me on Instagram or hanging out with me on Facebook, so that you know what's going on. But anyway, it's been lovely tonight hanging out with all of you. Been great. And we said goodbye to our Insta people and Facebook gang. Thank you. You're always so loyal. We appreciate it. And we will see you, well, next time. Stay tuned, and I will keep you posted.